What were you accused of, and by whom?
I was accused of 7 felony counts of sexually abusing my 2 daughters. The Orange County DA, of course, brought the charges, but in my opinion, the thing resulted from my ex-wife prompting my older daughter to say certain things which led the DA to think I,
Yeah, and she, of course, was
kids.
interrogated by a police officer. Now, how old is your daughter, your older daughter?
She's 14 now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you spent 9 days in jail.
Right.
Just on her charge. And then you went for 1 year without seeing your children?
1 year without seeing the children. In fact, I couldn't even, the ex-wife wouldn't let me talk by phone to either child over the phone. And finally, I had the trial, and Mr. Wallin and I tried the case.
How does your ex-wife or the mother of the children, I mean, how do you, is this assumed, or was this brought out in the case that this was indeed the case, that the wife prompted the older child?
There's no way to prove what went on behind the closed doors of my ex-wife's house.
So we're assuming that's what took place.
I'm absolutely sure.
Any indication, Paul, how do you get a child to bring this kind of a charge against their father?
You know, it used to be the case that in custody battles, the big issue, how a husband or wife got custody, was to claim that the other spouse was having an affair. But now in our, quote, enlightened age, judges don't care anymore if one spouse is having an affair, so that doesn't bother them anymore with custody. So now spouses are using this as a tool, and it's an extremely damaging tool.
But I mean, getting back to the child, go ahead, Mary.
No, I was just saying it's interesting because all there has to be is the charge.
And in these kind of cases, just the charge alone can ruin a man's life. And in the domestic court, where the judge has to protect the child, the father is basically presumed guilty, unless he goes to the criminal court and is found innocent. So it puts the husband at a tremendous disadvantage. In fact, I was reluctant to come on this show to talk about this just for the fear that some wife involved in a bitter divorce would hear this show and say, hey, you know what? I can't get custody this way, so I'll do this.
All right, but are the courts taking a closer look now at each one of these cases? Or are they, in their kind of zealousness to protect children, just going full-blown speed ahead?
It's hard to generalize what judges do, but I can tell you that the judge's obligation in domestic court is for the protection of the child. And normally what that means in these kind of cases is the husband can go months without seeing his children. And in Mr. Riefman's case, his children were the most important thing of his life.
It was a year for you, Don, and a lot of other things happened to you. What has this done to you?
The primary thing, of course, was not seeing the children for a year, but it financially ruined myself and my parents pursuing the case. My business failed. My parents' health has been seriously affected, my health. Even with the acquittal, my reputation in the community will probably be tainted forever. There's always going to be some doubt in somebody's mind that, did I really do this kind of an act? Basically, it'll live forever as a negative mark on my life.
How do you get a child to say those kinds of things against her daddy?
It's not black or white.
I mean, is it brainwashing or what goes on? I'm sure you've sat down and you've thought about this.
There must be a lot of pressure put on the child.
In my case, it wasn't, the child didn't actually say I had a specific act with the child. So there's a whole continuum here of blatant accusations of specific acts to innuendos to exaggerations to fantasies, all the various distortions of truth which adults practice.
It's not that unusual. If you just think about someone you know that has gone through a bitter divorce and are fighting over the custody of their children, the most important thing they have, think about what parents do to try to win custody. And unfortunately, it's a horrible thing to say, but sometimes they will use their children as pawns to try to get custody of this most precious thing.
Now, Paul, if we weren't going through this period of absolute and in some cases irrational fear about the child molestation, how would this have been treated?
I don't think the charges would have ever been filed initially by the district attorney's office, first of all. These charges should never have been filed. The conduct was so de minimis in nature. But a district attorney looked at it, and in this time of, oh, I better protect the child, filed the charges, and then we had a situation where he was in jail on $100,000 bail.
Is anybody culpable? I mean, can one just go into court and then say, gee, I made a mistake after he's proven innocent?
Well,
or is there any way to prove culpability in this?
It's so hard, and the bottom line is that's the horrible thing, because a wife under the present situation doesn't face really any sanctions. If in fact it is even proven later that the wife did this, fine, the husband might want to sue the wife, but that drags the poor child through it again. And why would the husband want to drag the kid through this again?
Yeah. Don, what are your hopes?
My hope is to get the older daughter into psychotherapy so she can find out quickly before it's too late what really happened. My fear is that if nothing happens for 8, 9 years, when she thinks back as an adult, she may not be sure what was truth and what was
real and
fantasy.
what's unreal,
exactly.
yes. Anything you'd like to leave us with, Paul, in terms of parents using children as a pawn, as an excuse?
I think that the most important thing we can do is these kind of programs, and that's why it's important that people are educated that children are no different than anyone else. Some tell the truth and some don't tell the truth. And I just wish there were more lawyers also who would go to bat for people, because very few lawyers are willing to do that.
And some children really don't know what the truth is in the situation.
That's right.
They love their mommy or they love their daddy, and to stay with their mommy, they'll say anything.
Thank you both. It's a sad, sad story, and I hope things turn around for you, Don. Thank you very much for being with us.
Very well.
Thank you, Paul.